Hey everybody, welcome back to Jeff Bowles Central. We're doing like a little bit of a... So back in the day, we used to do a game segment on Jeff Bowles Central called How Much Does It Suck? And it tended to invite a little bit of, hey, this doesn't suck, you suck kind of attitude. Totally understand. This is going to be a segment about a Lord of the Rings game, a very recent, fairly recent, I mean, these things move so fast, Lord of the Rings game that it's not even just considered bad, okay? It's not even just considered one of the worst Lord of the Rings game, if not the worst Lord of the Rings game. This is considered one of the worst games of all time. And you know me, like when I hear the worst, if I hear hyperbole like that, right? I gotta see for myself, and I hadn't played it. Gee, I wonder why. See, I'm the kind of guy who watches the media or the reviews or what the crowds are saying, and if everybody says something sucks, I stay away. I don't buy it, right? Well, so here we are. We're going back. This thing's dirt cheap much of the time. No big expense on my end, other than the time that it took to play it, because it's not a good game, okay? But I have something to report to you that might surprise you. It's not quite as bad as people say.
To everybody who worked on Gollum, it is a complete marriage of skills.
You're a liar and a thief. Nobody likes you.
It's pretty close, but it's not quite as bad, okay? And I think part of that is because it's been patched since its original launch date. Part of the thing that they were talking about at the time was it was so buggy. It's not that buggy anymore. It's actually not horrible. It's stable enough, okay? I didn't have much problems with it at all, really. However, it's not a great game still, okay? So here's the thing. I'm going to break down real quick. Have you ever played a really tasty Lord of the Rings game? A really, really snackish, tasty little gnome, hobbit, or dwarf, as the case may be. But look, there are some really great Lord of the Rings games, okay? So we have the Shadow series, Shadow of War, Shadow of Mordor. Those were fantastic games. I love those games. I also remember back in the day when the movies were coming out and I was a teen. We had an old teen, an elder teen. We had the tie-in games for the Two Towers and the Return of the King. Those were kind of like hack and slash. Those were really, really cool games as well. Me and my buddy cleared those handily within a couple days each because we really had a good time with them. But then there's trash too. Frankly, I was thumbing through a list of Lord of the Rings games, and there's some garbage. There's some not to judge those development teams and their products too harshly, but they're really just not very good games, you know. So the worst one that I can remember personally on this list was the Fellowship of the Ring tie-in game. It was really, really non-functional. It was so bad. And I find Gollum, frankly, to be a cut above. Part of that's because modern game design is just better, in my opinion, for the most part, than bad game design now, okay, is slightly better than bad game design then. But the only thing with that game is that I couldn't get past the first couple levels of it at that time, and this I can get, through. So... But I don't want to get you too excited. Because if you're looking at this footage, you're probably thinking, Gollum looks funny. Hey, those character models, they look kind of funny, right? Yeah, okay, and I see what you're saying. It's not a very good game. Visually, it's a weird mishmash of stuff. Like, every once in a while, you'll step into this area and it'll be this great, beautiful landscape or something, and it's funky somehow. The colors will be vivid, but everything will seem crushed and too close. The characters move okay, but then you look at the models, and like I said, look at Gollum's face. Look at the boy's face. It's not always a great scene, man, looking at this game. Play the actual gameplay. So you're Gollum. What does Gollum do? He sneaks. That's what he does. He's not especially strong. He's a little river creature. He's a little hobbit boy, right? He's a couple hundred years old, but whatever. So he sneaks, so this is stealth. It's not good stealth. It's sometimes too simplistic. Sometimes it's just non-functional because he's kind of a little spazzy little dude. It's also scaling stuff and like doing like vaguely Tomb Raider-ish / Uncharted-ish kind of like jumping from platform to platform with your holding on to stuff, And honestly, it's just so much of that, and fetch quests, especially this long prison stretch, where you're trooping through the prison of Baradur. Sorry, I got out my black speech Elvish accent, of course. And it's just this awful prison complex. Hey, prison's not really a fun experience, I've heard. So to put it in a game, you have to make it fun, and they didn't do that. In fact, this prisoner here, this little hobbit boy, the several hundred-year-old hobbit boy, he's lost. Like, he's just doing stuff for these people. Like an orc will say, "Hey, go over there and do that," and he's like, "Okay." I was like, "What do you mean, okay?" I mean, I get it. If they don't, they'll beat you or something. I get it, but like, it's just not it's just not designed to be such a huge, compelling experience. Part of that is the lore doesn't give much here. The only thing about this section of the lore that Tolkien himself gives is just kind of the vaguest outline of it. Yeah? If you've read the books. So the key moments are here, but there's so much fill-in. And what they filled it in with is just not that cool. It's not that interesting, and it's not that fun, man. And I just got so bored and so frustrated at times because, again, he doesn't really move like you want him to move. I'm playing on a PS5. He's just the little hobbit boy. The little hobbit boy is lost. He can't move. He can't move. The little hobbit boy can't move. So the other thing is that it's like Lord of the Rings. It's supposed to be so epic and so grand. And so it's so wonderful in scope. It's just like so shy. It's so shy. So that's my impression of it. The history of this thing is such that, even the development cycle was hell. First of all, Daedalus, the developer, they didn't get enough money. The project was underfunded for a Lord of the Rings game. This is a massive franchise. They didn't get enough money. They cut tons of stuff in the process. This is documented. They cut levels. They cut content that may have made it better. I don't know. The other thing is they were overworked. This team. This was also in the news, famously so. They were being worked to the bone. This team, and they didn't have the money, and they were doing Lord of the Rings, and it's like, whoa, this is going to be bad, and that's where we're at now. Like I said, Daedalus, they patched it. It's playable. More or less. God bless you. Spend the $5 when it's on sale and give it a shot. Don't expect to like it. And don't take my word for it that it's entirely playable, because there's playable and then there's playable, okay? But is this the worst Lord of the Rings game of all time? Gosh, I don't know. Of all the ones I've played, I mean, it's in the running, okay? Is it the worst game of all time? I don't think so. I can think of several worse games, especially, say, like early 2000s, mid 2000s era. We were kind of in a slouch there for a little while, and there was some really bad shovelware. It's pretty bad, though, guys. For 2023, it's pretty inexcusable. Is it the worst game of the last 10 years? Heck yeah. Heck yes. That poor little hobbit boy. I'm a real boy. Precious. Okay. So, do me a favor, don't play this game. That's my recommendation. I can't make you not. I can't make you do it. I'm not signing anything legal. After all, I paid for it with my own money, and I'm telling you that it's not that good. But you know what? That's why I exist for you. Like this video, everybody. Subscribe to the channel, and have yourself a very refined, excellent literary experience of the Lord of the Rings. Not something like this, okay? In the very least, watch the movies, man, or the show on Amazon. It was all right. So. Bye. Have a good rest of your existence.
Sun